Okay, so let us now consider this example. So a passive network. So resistors are connected now in a combination of series and parallel, and I want you to solve for the resistance across terminal A and B. So meaning, if I'm going to measure at this point, what will be the equivalent resistance? So you need to check whether these resistors are connected in series or in parallel. I mean, kailangan masimplify natin ang circuit na to into single resistor para mahanap natin yung value ng A and B. So, anong isi-series at anong ipaparallel natin based sa given, but most of the time, kung nandito yung terminals na hinahanap natin, mag-uumpisa tayo mag-simplify ng circuit on this part. So, kung may mapaparallel tayo o may masiseries tayo, yun yung isi-simplify muna natin. So, is this 5 and 1 ohm connected in series? Actually, no. So, although sila ay nasa isang, magkapantay, this is a common mistake. Akala nila, dahil lang magkapantay, series na agad. Ano po? But actually, dahil meron ditong junction at meron ditong 6 ohms, kahit wala actually ditong resistance pero may wire, hindi sila mako-consider as series. Again, isang pamantayan para malaman natin kung ang dalawang resistors ay connected in series. Check niyo yung current na dumadaan. If ever, halimbawa, may current na dumadaan dito, dapat same na current ang dadaan doon. But in this case, dahil may junction dito, pag pumasok dito yung current, some of the currents ay pupunta dito, and some of the currents will dito pupunta sa 1 ohm. So basically, it's so obvious na hindi equal ang current sa 5 ohm saka sa 1 ohm kasi may mapupunta dito. So definitely hindi sila series. And lalong hindi naman to parallel. Si 1 at saka itong 4 is not parallel kasi this is also a common mistake. Akala nila dahil magkatapat, parallel agad. Ano po? 2 at saka itong 6 ohms ay hindi parallel. Pero itong 4 ohms at saka itong 2 ohms are considered parallel kasi as you check, yung terminal ni 2 at saka terminal ni 4 on this end is connected through this node, and the other end of 4 and the other of 2 ohms are connected dito sa terminal na to. Ibig sabihin, silang dalawa ay parallel. To simplify, say nakita ko na parallel tong dalawa, I will get the equivalent parallel resistance nito at papangalanan ko siya R1. So, to solve for R1, so R1 will be equal to, since they are in parallel, so that will be 2 inverse plus 4 inverse, the answer inverse. So R1 will be equal to 4/3 ohms. Yan. Then you're going to redraw the circuit, retaining yung mga hindi nagalaw. So ito, kopyahin ko lang, hindi naman siya nagalaw. The same with this, see, this is 5 ohms, your 1 ohm. This is your terminal AB. This is your 1 ohm. You have your 6 ohms here. Then your 1 ohm, your 4 ohms here. Then this 2 and 4 is now represented by a single resistor, the equivalent, your R1, which is equal to 4/3. Now, you see, these resistors are now connected in series. Kasi, as you will trace the path, may isang current lang nadadaan dito. So, they are connected in series. I may let these resistors R2. So, since R2 is the series connection of 1 ohm plus R1 plus 4, I may add these values. So, that will be equal to 19/3 ohms. Then, you're going to again redraw the circuit. Your terminal A, you have your 6 ohms here. Your terminal B, your 1 ohm, you have your 5 ohms here. Then the equivalent resistance, you may draw it here. You have R2. Then, see this is now connected in parallel. So, you may solve for the equivalent resistance R3. And R3 is equal to the parallel of 6. So, you have to write it 6 inverse plus R2 inverse. Then R3 is equal to the value of your R2 is 19 over 3 inverse. So that is inverse. So the value of your R3 is inverse, 6 inverse is 114 over 37 ohm. So that is your R3. Then you need to redraw your terminal A, your terminal B. You have your 5 ohms here. You have your 1 ohm here. Then the equivalent R3 is now ito. So, kita mo na, this can be now connected in series. So, to solve your RAB, you can now solve for the total represented by RAB. That is the series connection between 5, R3, and 1 ohm. Substituting the value of R3, which is 114 over 37 ohms plus 1 ohm. So, you have now 336 over 37 ohm, or simply you can write your final answer in decimal, that is 9.0811 ohms. So that is the equivalent resistance if you're going to measure at point AB. Now, what if, so additional questions, say I let this point as point C, then I let this point at point D, and I ask you to solve for the value of the resistance across RCD. Do you think same lang ang makukuha ko if I'm going to measure resistance across this point and across these points? I don't think so. So let us consider point C now. So say solve for RCD. So if this is 5 ohms, your point C, your resistance 1 ohm, our point D, and we have here 6 ohms, we have here 4 ohms, 2 ohms, and lastly, I know we have 4 ohms, then this one is 1 ohm. But these two resistors, if we're going to measure at point C and point D, this resistor will no longer be included. Why? Kasi open sila sa dulo. So, in terms of computation, hindi na siya masasama. Now, so if you're going to solve for C and D, ito na lang yung kanyang magiging. So, you can extend actually the terminal C. Tapos you have this 1 ohm. Tapos, you have this 6 ohms here. You have your 4 ohms. Ito yun. This one is ito. Then you have your 2 ohms. And connected in parallel with this one. So, which one can be simplified first? You can, yes, you can have it in series. Kasi diba series siya. Say, name this as R1. Then, you can connect this in parallel. Say, R2. So, to solve for R1 muna, R1 is equal to the series of 6 ohms and 4 ohms. So, you have R1 as 10 ohms. But solving for R2, that is the parallel combination of 2 and 4. So you have 2 inverse plus 4 inverse, inverse. Then, I think this is the same as 4/3 ohms. So you need to redraw your circuit. Your terminal C is here. So you have your terminal D. At this point, ito yun. This is D. This is your 1 ohm. Then the equivalent resistance, R1. This one. Then your R2 is connected at this terminal through this terminal or this point. This is your R2. This is your 1 ohm. So actually, R1 and R2 are now in series. So this is R3. To solve for R3, that is the series of 1 and R2. So the value is 10 ohms plus 4 over 3. Then R3 is how much? It's 34 over 3. That is your R3. Then simplify your circuit. Your terminal D, your terminal C, your R3, and your 1 ohm. This is now connected in parallel. So, to solve for the total or the resistance at CD, this is actually the parallel combination of R3. So, you have R3 inverse plus 1 inverse, inverse. Substituting the value, you have 34 over 3 inverse plus 1 inverse, inverse. That is how much? You have 34 over 37 ohms, or in decimal, that is equal to 0.9189 ohm. So, see the difference? Still dealing with the same circuit, the same value of resistances or resistors, but I'm taking the value in two different locations or terminals, and it gives me different answer. So, because pag nagbago ka ng terminal, nababago yung nako-consider na mga resistance. No? So,